All right, we're gonna give her one more attempt for the night, and then we'll see. See how it goes. It's getting fuel. It is wanting to start. Oh, we had fire! All right, so I don't have much time in here tonight, but we got the oil pan all nice, and I gotta put a little bit more there. Nice thin layer of RTV, and we're gonna get it installed tonight. Now, I did tell you we're going with a big iron. This is a big iron oil pan. I'll show you guys the part number. That is the oil pan that came off of this one, and every oil pan I have had in the shop is junk. The 5.9 ones are also junk. Every one of them, they're all gonna leak at some point. But these, if you can see, they make the flanges super thick. So, I'm gonna install that. Do not ever install these dry. If you guys install these with no RTV whatsoever, you are going to have problems at some point down the road. It doesn't matter when, it's going to happen. So if you use a little bit of RTV, these things will last the life of the truck. Every seal on this motor, you wanna use RTV on both sides of the gasket, not a thick layer, just a nice thin layer of RTV. So I'm gonna throw a little bit more because I actually had the gasket on backwards. I had to flip it back around. I had the thin section on the front. So RTV on there, throw it back up in there, and then I'm going to hit them all with a torque wrench. I think they're 18 foot-pounds, but I'm gonna look that up and check, but I'm pretty sure off the top of my head they're 18 foot-pounds, same as the water pump. So let's get this fucker installed, and then I'm gonna slap this motor in tonight and start throwing the truck back together as much as possible. And then we're just waiting on that piece. So by the time you guys see the video, it'll be running. Well, we've already ran into one problem. So big iron oil pan, 8.5 inches deep. Factory oil pan, 9.5 inches deep. I'm gonna have to go back in my emails and check and make sure I ordered the right one. I ordered one for a 6.7. I know I did. So I'm gonna go back in my email and check. It will not bolt up because this goes down too deep. So I gotta go, actually, I'm gonna go measure to this other one over here and see if that pickup tube's different. If that's worst case scenario, I gotta knock this motor over, which this thing is full of oil. And I gotta take the oil drain off the 5.9. So I did my measuring. I can use the pickup tube from this 6.7 here because this is a 08 block, and I think the block I'm using is a 13. I guess there is a difference. That pickup tube is 9.5 inches long, whereas that one is 8.5 inches long. So I just need to grab it. The bolts shouldn't be tight. Actually, they are. So bunch of 10s, some 13s. Let's just grab that pickup tube and get that thing cleaned out. All right, we got her swapped out to the short one. That one's over there, brand new gasket. The other one is somewhere over here in pieces, right there. I've done these before. I've done quite a few of these before, actually. Many times, if I do the oil pan, usually it's in the truck. So very rarely do we not touch that gasket, but they very rarely, if ever, fail. I don't think that I've ever seen one fail in my life of doing this, so here you go. Let's throw this thing on here, and always put a dab of RTV on each crease. Help it seal. All right, so she is all back together. Everything's torqued down to 17 or 18 foot-pounds at the bottom. General rule of thumb, if it's a 10 millimeter on a Cummins, 18 foot-pounds. Now, all I need to do is swing this thing over. I did get the belt on, so power steering pump here and AC compressor here. I can hook everything up a while. I'll probably leave the front end, like all of the stuff off. We'll definitely get the transmission mounted up and all that stuff, but probably leave everything off so I can at least access the injectors. I want to see if this thing runs decent before I throw the entire front end back on, because if I throw the front end on and the janky injectors that I did aren't gonna run good, then I'd rather it just be easy enough to pull them and get them sent out. So let's start slamming this thing in there. I got 5 gallons of coolant. I'm gonna filter that before it goes in, but that was a clean bucket. And then I actually bought more, but customer truck needed it. So if it comes down to it, I need to buy more coolant. Now check this out, right? I told you guys I wanted to put this motor in with the turbo, with the valve cover, with the oil pan, everything on. This is why 3 blocks. Just jack your cab up, because look, we have a mile of clearance. Front and rear, look, we're already past all we're trying to do now is just get past the turbo, which looks like we're already past. So I just need to go back far enough to get close to the trans and then pull that jack stand out and replace it with a jack so that we can modulate it. All right, that wasn't bad. It's not the tools that make the mechanic. When you're a good mechanic, don't need anything better than that. So now we just gotta line the transmission up and get this thing in. We are locked down onto the motor mounts, and then once the transmission's bolted up, I can start wiring in all the extra stuff and tightening down everything. But looks like we got good clearance. Everything looks good. Acting like it's a swap, even though it's the motor, well, one of the motors that came out of it. So we just gotta get that lined up, which shouldn't be too hard considering we have the jack right here. Finagle everything, and we'll get her lined up. All right, well, telling you guys, having this body up in the air, holy shit, does it make such a difference. I can reach in literally anywhere I want and put any bolt in. I almost don't have to go under the truck. Like those 2 bolts there, a couple bolts down here I'll have to get under, and the dipstick fucking came out while I was doing this, so lost about a quart. Hopefully that's a quart, because that's all I'm dumping back in it. But like, I can get all the bolts and everything from right here, and it makes life so much easier. So I'm gonna focus on the transmission for a little bit. I did get, probably take that bolt off because I actually didn't see it, but other than that, like, man, it's gonna be a hell of a lot easier to work on. Here's the, there's that guy there. Yeah, she's going together. Not too bad. Let's keep tightening some bolts up. Yeah, pretty much. I just have to get under here for 2 bolts. And I am fighting the dipstick one. That one I do have to fight because the transmission, because of the cooler line up there. So other than that, everything else, oh yeah, that side's already there. Let's throw this one in here, tighten them up. Life is so nice. All right, so I fucked up and I wasn't supposed to be in here this long tonight. It's like 1:30 right now. Main reasoning, tomorrow, actually today, is a big deadlift day. So I don't have much time to screw around. I need to get this moved. And then while we're at it, we just slapped the turbo on this old girl right here. And customer did not tell me that it had a major up pipe leak where you can't see it in the back. So we got to pull all that back off and do an up pipe. So fun. It's leaking at the bellow, but that's got to go in that bay. I can't have it sitting outside. And yeah, transmission is all bolted in. I just got to bolt up the torque converter, and then I already got the return line on. And I mean, other than tightening the motor mounts, this thing's in. She's solid. Compressor go there, that go there, belt routed. I gotta cut this to length, get everything, figure out where I want this guy to be, and slowly just, you know, making our headway. Super excited about the new intake. I actually forgot to pre-fill this turbo, even though I know it's been on the truck. I'm gonna pull this line back off. Actually, I'm gonna pull it off right here and just fill that fucker up with oil. And then also, so I don't forget, tomorrow, I wanted the RTV to dry overnight. I got a full thing of Mobile Delvac because I'm going to continue to run Mobile 1 in my trucks, because my logic here, people seem to hate Mobile 1, but my logic on that is oil affects your bearings more than anything. If I'm going to melt a piston or break rings or something like that, no oil is going to save the motor. Also, if you guys don't know, I 100% recommend this stuff. Every vehicle I get, I put this in here. So Marvel Mystery Oil, this stuff is tits. I do not care what additive you guys like, any of that. This stuff is fucking awesome for anything to do with oil. And main reasoning, I have seen this work multiple times with my own eyes. Engines that have not blown up after losing every bit of oil in them, losing the oil pressure light. My dad was driving his Durango the other day, pulling a trailer, and for the 3rd time in his life, lost all oil pressure. His drain plug fell out and drove for 3 miles on the highway with no oil in the engine. Put a drain plug back in it and it's still going. So like I said, I have physically seen this stuff work. This stuff is good shit. I always put it in everything. I have seen my own stuff lose oil pressure. And I mean, my last motor lost oil pressure a couple times, down to 2 PSI, multiple occasions. That stuff is tits. So we're slow and steady. I will probably have this done Wednesday. Actually, I got a customer coming in tomorrow. So yeah, I'll probably have this done by the end of the week. We still got to finish up the fast, and because I dumped some oil or coolant on whatever, tranny fluid on the ground, we got to throw that shit down and get that all cleaned up, because I am not one for mess. I cannot stand messes. All right, guys, it is the next day. Just got a ram done over there. So I forgot to film a lot of this stuff. I'm not putting this, taking these out until I know everything is done. Other than the fuel pressure sensor, we got everything over here, a nice loom here, but everything is coming together. I got to vacuum this out because I kind of, yeah, we got shit in there. So I pulled the rail back off. This plenum will be here today. So we'll test fire it tonight and get the fast done. And then this, I think we are going to drill into the back right there. I think that'll fit. And then I just got to find the other sensor. I had one laying around for up here, and I must have got rid of it because I don't have the proper sensor. So that'll probably throw a check engine light. So I got to get one of them. And the ground is on. I want to clean up some of the grounds before I do this. I got to tighten the motor mounts down. Probably should do that while it's up. And then that'll go to the horn. But everything wiring wise, slowly tidying up. And someone mentioned this will have its own mount, so chill on that. And then these here, I'm going to slowly go over. There's the only 2 wires left that kind of piss me off, but it's okay because they're just gauges. And we'll go over that when we get a new cab maybe down the road. But all that's all lined up, all the new stuff. Cut off some stuff we didn't need, mounted things we did. And I have an extra bolt for a transmission, but all my bolts are in. So I don't know what that's about. But other than that, everything's pretty good. Just I want to clean this ground up here mainly, and then I got to extend this harness for the horns. That one side doesn't even reach. I got to extend both of them, so that'll be fun. Other than that, everything else is done. This is done. I got to find a new place to mount this for the fogs, and then put our steering stabilizer on, because it looks like, yeah, I forgot about that too. Forgot we got a bunch of stuff. And then all that stuff's nice and pretty in its spot, and looks factory. So, all right, so this is all back together. All the bolts are in. I got rid of the running boards. We're not gonna need those. And then I started throwing stuff back together. Those motor mounts are absolutely being a pain in the ass, if you guys can see down in there. Gonna have to lube the shit out of them. Intake is on. It was definitely a tight fit, but it worked, so it's all that matters to me. And just once I get that sensor, I'll be able to plug that in, and I can start throwing the fan and all the accessories on. But I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. I think I'm gonna call it right now for this, and I'll let those motor mounts soak overnight so I can tighten them up. And then I just got to hit that 11 mil right there. Probably I'll forget, but it's okay. It's not like it hurt anything before. And then we'll vacuum all this out before I put the intake plenum on, get that all cleaned up. So a little bit of oil from, forget where, but oil is oil. Came from here. Yeah, I was going to say this thing should be done. I was going to do it tonight. We got a head gasket job coming in. We got Fab Guy over there working on that bad boy for me. And then we're going to start making this stuff here. Like stuff like that, intake horns, the whole 9 yards. So that was another reason I didn't mind running the stock intake horn, because we're going to be doing custom ones eventually anyway. So why buy somebody else's when we're going to be making them anyway? But it's coming together. I am super happy with how everything's turning out. The only thing is I wish I didn't throw out a sensor. I didn't realize that I didn't have one. And I mean, that spot's cleared out over there. I might have to move that catch can to like over here on the wall, which I did not want to do. So we're going to try to figure it out. If I have to move like forward or whatnot, I wanted to use those 2 bolt holes, but nothing is gonna line up with that, so I kind of regret making this, but I have plenty other hose on the shelf, so it should be fine. Everything lined up, everything's looking good. I gotta put the steering stabilizer back on, so it's coming together. I left a socket in there so that way I can tighten those bolts up, but nobody bought the intercooler piping from me, so I am going to end up probably reusing that until if someone buys that, I'll go buy some more. But, oh, that was the other, yeah, I should have just bought intercooler piping, but he's going to be making that stuff too. So the only thing I don't like, I feel like this angle is really aggressive. I don't feel like that's supposed to sit like that. So that hose, they had a picture of it to a different, I don't know, it'll work out, we'll see. All right, so I'm not in a hurry tonight. Started messing with the fuel. I finally drilled the fuel tank. I've got most of it out, and I think we're damn near almost empty. It's still doing its thing. I got busy talking. But yeah, so I gotta dump that. I went and grabbed motor mount bolts because I fucked up and I snapped a motor mount bolt on this, and I think they're both snapped. So I got 2 good ones here, and these are gonna get anti-seized because I am never gonna deal with seized bolts again. But I don't know if you guys can see down in there, we snapped it. So I'm gonna lift this side of the motor up, push that out, and then pop those in, and then do the same thing on the other side. And that intake plenum was supposed to be here tonight. It's now supposed to be here tomorrow. So that sucks. But once those motor mount bolts are swapped out, I can pretty much throw this whole front end on because I'm already working back here anyway. So it's not gonna affect me when I throw that back on in the lines. And then we just gotta drill and tap the intake horn, and just waiting on that to drain. You can see right there. And then we can put the sump in. I've got my little hole saw right there. So now I got to dump that and hopefully not make a mess. A little bit of fuel on the ground, but it's fine. Trying to get this place cleaned up because once this is done and I can get my guys in here, we're pretty much going to do no more messes. Like, we can't be doing that shit because this thing kills my motivation when it's not running. I miss driving my truck. But my fab guy, he was in here last night, and I was like, holy shit, he actually cleans up his messes. He put the broom away, and then I come over here and he was using my extension cord, and I came over here and I noticed my extension cord was all wrapped up and nice and pretty. So it's all about getting the right guys. I'm telling you, it's like little things like that. I notice things like that and it makes me super happy. And then he's been working on this. This was the main thing. We're slowly getting this done, and then we're gonna angle that. So I'll show you guys it done on the second channel. But yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at. Like I said, this engine will run in this video. I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. Like, I gotta vacuum all that out, put the new plenum on. It is a grid heater delete, so we are not running a grid heater. And then I'll probably have to do the resistor trick to get rid of that, or tuning. I don't know if they can tune out the grid heater, but I gotta do the resistor trick. These are the 2 wires that go to the solenoid, so get rid of those. Look at all those diesel buckets. You guys want to see something cool with diesel? Check this out. See how it doesn't do anything? See how it puts it out? That's the cool part about diesel. I know some people don't know that, but you could throw a lit match in this and it wouldn't do anything. But you do the same thing with gasoline and you're gonna be here for a while. Pretty much all I've been doing is taking these buckets, and obviously I'm not filling them to the top, so I'm doing this every 2.5 to 4 gallons. And dumping it. And that's what I've been doing, is just dumping it, because I can't afford to go buy a bunch of buckets. I can only afford 2. So we'll take this bucket and dump it up there. All right, so I got the new plenum tonight. It finally came in sometime earlier today. Now, I took the factory sensor that sits there and drilled it out, cut it out, all that shit. And instead of putting the sensor in the back of the intake horn, we're just gonna plop that thing right there. We'll set this right in there. I've already vacuumed it out, obviously, because the vacuum's sitting right there. So now we're gonna start putting bolts in, get the get the rail where it needs to be, and hopefully no problems. Guys, I kind of fucked up and just did everything without filming it. Lifted this side of the motor. I put brand new motor mount bolts in. This is probably the first truck I'm gonna have in a hot minute that actually has correct motor mounts. Look at that clearance. I threw a lot of that on. I just gotta get a hose for that. We gotta do intercooler piping. The ground, like, that's done. But yeah, pretty much intercooler piping. We gotta do the horns. They need lengthened over here. And then wire the starter, clean up the grounds. Might do something about that power steering at some point. It leaks like a quart every year. But besides that, and then we got the pipe there. So we can fire it up as is. I'm just not ready to start that fast up yet. But once the starter's wired, we'll have the positives on. All this stuff will get cleaned up. And the only thing we won't have is the BD controller and a bumper. I might have to throw the old bumper back on, and the old intercooler piping. Nobody decided to buy that stuff. So, right, guys, I have been absolutely milking the shit out of this. So we got the fast, sprayed some PB Blaster in there. We have power. We got everything routed. I am gonna clean this up as time goes by. I just need to make sure everything works first. And then that zip tie's fucked. And then we're just waiting on this device from BD, which I'm gonna make probably a whole video dedicated to that, because what a shit show that has been. So we got everything in. It's a 6.7 now. It's I got the 6.7 rail. I'm over there filling the cooling system. I still have a couple of little odds and ends to do, but brand new motor mount bolts, so we don't have to worry about the motor hitting the cross member. Still got to find a sensor, which I'm sure I have a parts truck laying around somewhere that I could find one. And other than that, like lengthening the horn wire, and then that's about it. We do need to figure out a bumper situation, and I mean, other than that, like I said, clean this up. This is for the inverter. This is for the power wire back there. We will have its own mount somewhere up here. That way this isn't just chilling on the, just chilling here. But everything's all bolted back down. I cleaned up the wiring down here on the starter. And the only thing, I'd like to touch up this ground, but other than that, everything is in. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. Probably gonna start it as is, and then I would like to put, if there is one, yeah, like right there, I'd like to put that wire to that. Other than that, the fast is wired into this with a 25 amp, even though it's only a 10. Right here's the 10, but I don't like putting extra things on the wires that I don't have to, other than the inverter there. But as you can see, we definitely have light. But yeah, other than that, I need to fill the tank, because FAST recommends having a full tank before you do this. So we're gonna take that and we're gonna do this. And we're gonna fill that thing up, and we're gonna watch for leaks. That's what we're gonna do. I'll let you guys know when it's full. All right, so now we have to prime it, and I sprayed WD in there like they said. Turns out you have to crank it first. I just used that to clean up the mess. Got a little bit on here, but it works. So let me clear everything, get everything out of the way, and let's see if the thing starts. The only thing I gotta watch for is that. I would like it to take a minute to start. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna unplug the injectors, and I'm gonna let it crank for a little bit so we can build oil pressure. Do that, and then everything else should be good. Fan spins. We do have those open. I'm just gonna reuse my old boots. Let's see if we can get oil pressure. I don't see any leaks. All right. Well, I'm gonna go plug those back in and see if she'll run. Definitely sounds like a 6.7. Definitely hear that it's a 6.7 because 5.9s and 6.7s. I don't know what makes them sound different. Oh, I forgot to put. Never mind. We're not gonna start it. I forgot to the converter bolts. That was the noise we were hearing. All right. Well, I'm gonna do the converter bolts and then we will start it. Something else I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the factory tune back in it. This sensor here is not plugged in. I still need to do that, but we'll figure that out later. I'm not worried about it. And then we're definitely gonna have a check engine light for the sensor on the intake box. So let's go up here, hit our performance settings, and we are going to go back to stock because we're gonna have, ooh, that needs to be off as well. Dang, we're all sorts of fucking up today. Yeah, so we're gonna have Firepunk do a custom file on it. This battery back here should have plenty of charge on it. I just turned that one on, and then that one wasn't plugged in at all this whole time. So should be good. Everything electrical wise, after cranking it, I don't see any leaks. And we just need to top off the cooling system, but that was our first crank. Ooh, let's go over here and see what we're getting out of it. Fuel pump wants to do its thing. I'm gonna go, I hate that. I'm gonna unplug the fuel pump because I'm tired of hearing it. Doing the tuning. Hopefully it runs good. All right, so now this process does take a good while. Ignition on, programming complete. Now, one of the first things I do when I go back in is I'll come down here to quick features, and all of this stuff is set where I want it, but you're gonna come down here to high idle enable, and it's gonna say it's already, this, is engine on. So pretty much this allows you to use the factory cruise control as your high idle switch, and I do this on every one of them. Like not having, that's another reason you like the common rail. This feature is currently disabled. Would you like to enable it? Yes. Engine idle up has been enabled. So there you go. All you need is a tuner, or you can go to the dealership and they can turn that option on for you. But every one of these automatic trucks, every one of them has it. And the manuals, you have to go in and you have to short one of the wires to ground on the PCM. It's on the forum, so you guys can look that up. But yeah, every single one of these trucks, 03 and up, has the high idle option, or at least 04 and a half and up. I don't know about 03, 04, but any truck that has cruise control from the factory has it, or you can just plug in an edge if you don't have cruise control, and you can just go in there and manually do it. So I've already got two. Actually, I'm working on bolt number 2. These are power-driven bolts. So I'm going to reuse these. I'll replace them again when we go bill it, but for now, I'm just going to keep reusing these because they only have like one use on them. Well, torque converter is in. I keep forgetting to put this guy back on, but we'll do that probably tomorrow. I just washed my hands. So other than coolant sitting here, let's see if it runs. I mean, there's really no, I almost forgot about that too. There's really no reason that it shouldn't. Now my concern, I know, I got a bunch of concerns about the injector nozzles and this and that. And you know what, guys? It's one of those, if I have to pull these injectors out again, it is what it is. I just want my truck back together 100%. And if I have to pull them out, I will. If you don't try new things, you are never going to learn new things, right? I've never taken injectors apart, and it was something I've always wanted to try, but I never really had a need to. And now that we went back to a 6.7 piston bowl, which is an early 03, 04, it's just, let's try it. And worst case scenario, we send these injectors out and I have to buy new ones, or they can do them. So let's get you guys up on the stand and see if this thing starts after. This motor has genuinely, this is a used motor, used bottom end. It has not been fired up in years. So let's get you guys up on the stand. I'm gonna drag this out as long as possible. Let's see if it starts on a stock tune. I'm actually kind of scared right now. Oh, all this work, all this money. Do we have any leaks? Oh my God, there's no leaks under the truck. I'm gonna let the edge fire up, and I'm gonna give it another shot. Let's see if it sounds like we're getting fuel because of the changeover. Do we have a running truck? Oh. Why is it doing that? Why are we not running? I'm hoping it's just an air pocket, but I smell fuel. I don't know. Oh no, it's not starting. My next concern is the 6.7 not firing on the 5.9 tune. I don't know. It fired and shut off. Let's see what happens if I do it again. Codes. So I'm going to pull the codes and see what we're getting. So we're getting a skim key and a crankshaft position sensor circuit. That could be because of, well, I mean, we were setting everything up while the battery was still in, so we should be able to get rid of a couple things like the ABS light and all that. We should really only have, let's see what we have now that they're cleared, like what comes back immediately. Holy fuck. Fog lamp. Horn control, yeah, that's typical. Lost communication with radio, that's been there. Map sensor, obviously. Ambient air temperature, that's the same thing. Intake heater, yes. And then radio. Okay, so cool. Only things that we knew about. So, let's throw you back on the stand and hopefully clearing those codes, because I was setting the battery up and connecting one thing at a time. So we may have lost communication to the PCM. I'm hoping that crank signal is not going to come back. ABS stuff went out. I'm going to put this thing on a jump starter. Alright, lots of problems coming from a low voltage code. Low voltage code. Jump starter is on. Something is making it not start. Could be the injectors. Maybe I fucked up. But we're definitely getting a low voltage code and a couple other odds and ends. We are getting fuel. We are definitely getting fuel. I can smell it. Look at that. I'm thinking with how big the injectors are, we might have to actually put a tune in it, because we need to advance the timing a lot. We're under stock timing right now with those big ass injectors. So I might let the box do its thing, and then I'll come back tomorrow and upload like the first tune with like super advanced timing, and then pull fuel back, like stock fueling but advanced timing. So actually, while the box is on it, let's just do that now. Let's see if that makes a difference. So we'll come over here, get this thing activated. It's nice to know we don't have any starter issues now. Oh man, fun. Yeah, I think we need to advance the timing a lot. I don't know if it's going to start on this timing. It's chirping over, but it just will not fire. I've been dealing with this for like 15 minutes. I don't think it's gonna let me do a tune. Turn ignition on. Watch, it's gonna say error. I'll bet you any money. Database error, please update tuner. That's not good. I probably should have left it on the tune that it was on, but it would have dumped so much fuel. So that's not a good sign. So let's just see if she'll start. Yeah, we gotta figure this out. That no good. No good at all. Alright, we're gonna give her one more attempt for the night and then we'll see. See how it goes. It's getting fuel. It is wanting to start. Oh, we had fire! She ran! She ran for a second. That gives me hope. I'm gonna let the batteries charge overnight. How are we looking on coolant? I'm gonna dump the rest of this bucket in. And I'm just gonna let that sit for the night as well. That should be good enough. And then I'm gonna try to locate a sensor for tomorrow, and then we'll get that installed tomorrow. And all this stuff we didn't end up reusing. So, and then I just need to redo the wiring for the hitch and then install the roll pan. And then once that's all done, we can go, I think I'm gonna go out to Fire Punk first because I don't plan on running any loads, and then I'm gonna grab the tires because I don't wanna drive this thing more than I have to with this tune. And I feel like if I spend the extra hour to go and drive to get the tires, you know, I'm going to put more time on it. So the end goal is to put as little time on this tune as possible. Once it runs, I will call Fire Punk, so it'll probably be Monday, and then I will schedule the appointment with them, see how long it's going to take. If they're way out, I'll get the tires first. So I'm just going to go pick them up. All right, I shut everything off, but I'm getting antsy. And I don't like that. So let's go over here and hit the 200 amp jump start. And what I'm gonna do is get the fast going first, give her a crank. Let's just see what happens. I don't think she's happy. Oh, in my opinion, I'll be back tomorrow to try it again. But I don't think we're going to make it over there on the stock tuning, and it is not letting me, for the life of me, change the tune back to level. Like, it keeps telling me to update. But there's something, I don't know, something is going on with it. So I might end up just calling them and seeing if I can just buy the tunes and have them give me one, you know what I mean, a set. And then just come back to the dyno tuning later, maybe after we need a transmission, but have them give me like a 5-position tunes and just call it good there for now. Obviously, I do want to get this truck dynoed at 600 down the road, but getting it running and me being able to drive it, I feel like that's more important, and I don't want to fuck anything up driving it over there. So I'm going to give them a call on Monday. Obviously, I'm still going to try it tomorrow, or sorry, Sunday actually, because tomorrow I'm busy, but I've got it on the jump starter. It's going to stay for about 2 hours and 10 minutes on 40 amps. Obviously, it'll go down, so it's not going to charge at 40 amps the whole time, but just to get the batteries back up. And then, yeah, so I'll see you guys on Sunday with an update. All right, so started buttoning everything up. This wheel liner's on. This is on because we're going to get an actual bumper for it, none of that steel stuff. Piping is back on, not the pipe that I want to use. I do want to go back to stock piping, but with having a fabricator in here. Hi, Brandon. He's not the fabricator, but with having a fabricator in here, we're going to be doing intercooler piping, so I'm going to have him make me a new pipe, and we're going to get new clamps. And then over here, I didn't take into account that when did they add the throttle bodies into these things? I think in the 4th gen. So this being from a 2013 is too long. So I'm gonna have my fab guy, when he comes in, I don't think tonight, I think tomorrow night, we're gonna cut this down behind the second bum, whatever you wanna call it, and bevel it out, and then just get some 3.5-inch clamps. So I wanna do 3-inch on that side, and then 3.5-inch up to here. And then eventually we'll make, you know, the intake horns for this, but it's coming together. I got the horn wiring all routed, so we have a horn again. The only thing is I'm still fighting the tuning, but I'd rather get everything together. I still got to get that. I keep forgetting about it. So let's slap this thing on a while my hands are dirty, and then we'll get all the wheels on. And then this thing's pretty much a roller. All we need at this point is to verify that I did good on the injectors, throw the roll pan back on, and this guy's gonna go back in, and wheels, yeah, just a couple more things. So we are almost done to getting it back together to where if it just needs injectors, I just have to pull the valve cover off and they're easy to swap. You just get that from the top, so nothing really has to come apart. So, all right, she is all back together. I think when we were looking at it, it really only needs to be cut and then just beveled. It doesn't need to have anything added to it, so that's going to be nice. We'll just cut and bevel where we need it. Get the clamp for that, and then everything engine bay wise is done. That's tight. Wheels, tires on, everything. Yeah, everything pretty much, other than that. Just got to take care of that and put a new roll pan light in, but I'm not worried about that. Everything's cleaned up, organized. Still using the air compressor over here. But besides that, well, I don't know. If anybody thinks they can get me a tune to get this thing started, if not, I am, well, I'll call them tomorrow and see what they say. So you guys probably won't have an update from here on out. But we have two options. Pretty much, I am going to call them and see what their lead time is on dyno tuning and getting a tune in this in general. If it's too far out, like it's going to be weeks upon weeks upon weeks, if I buy the tuner off of their website with preloaded tunes, it's $1,250 and I get the module and I get 5 tunes, but there's also a 4 to 5 week lead time. I did not know that. So we'll see whichever one we can get faster. Worst case scenario, we just tow it over there, and if I can get the tunes, we'll see if it's either a tune issue or an injector issue. But I'm going to keep trying on my end, trying to get this thing to work, so I need to update that when I get home. But we'll see. We'll see. Other than that, I'm just glad to have it back together. So, looking fresh. Just needs a bumper. We got the piece on there on the bottom, so just need a bumper, and that should be about it.